Hello and welcome to Good Morning Thailand. I'm Jay, and joining me once again on a bright Tuesday morning is Tim Newton.
Hi Jay, hi everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. Hi to the Thaiger members too. Appreciate having you along today.
Right. Today's episode, we will be talking about Thailand's reopening once again, look about some details, and also Thai Airways and its struggle, as well as a few other topics. Now, before we get started, I'd like to start the episode by thanking Coffee Culture.
Oh, of course, Coffee Culture.
Coffee Culture. As you can see, today we have decided to represent the amazing coffee that Coffee Culture has provided us.
Ever got the percolator?
Yes. And today we actually have filled the mugs with a very tasty beverage, so thank you for that.
Mine tastes suspiciously like water.
And you can find your roast of coffee, either beans or ground coffee.
I think it is water, by the way.
You can find your roast coffee from Thai farmers and Thai coffees, shipped all across Thailand and all across the world with Coffee Culture.
There was a bit of a taste test yesterday afternoon, I believe.
There was. We did do a pea berry Doi Chang coffee taste test.
Okay, good.
I had never tasted it before. It was not bad. Yes, it was nice. Very nice. So, yeah.
Not bad. I think it was really good.
It was amazing.
Yes, it was really
when
good.
I say not bad, I mean amazing. You know, you can't oversell. Yeah. Anyways, so visit www.coffeeculture.asia to get your roast of Thai coffee. Now, let's get on with the show. So, Tim, we're going to start off today. Firstly, by addressing a comment, an email rather, from Mr. Mark Sullivan, who has pointed out a very important detail for us, which is regarding
yes.
John, who is right behind you, John the plant.
Where did John get his name?
Those details I cannot disclose at this current moment.
Okay.
However, John on the left and Henrietta on the right, well, my left, your right.
Stage left, stage right.
Right.
I think the problem was that this gentleman pointed out was that I had a plant growing out of my head.
With visual examples. So here's the picture that was sent in. We have hopefully tried to fix this. We will try to find a permanent solution for John.
Is that bit better?
Is that better? I hope that
There we
has
go.
satisfied you, Mark. Thank you. Thank you for the email.
Sorted it out.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right. Let's get on to our first topic today, which will be about the reopening. Now, according to the City Hall and Bangkok Governor Kun Aswin Kwanmueang said on Monday, Bangkok was keen to restart its tourism business. Now, the date was originally October 1st, moved to October 15, now moved to October 26. And they have addressed three factors very important to the reopening of Bangkok. And they've highlighted them. The first being 70% of all the residents of Bangkok need to have 2 doses of the vaccine.
One.
Number 2, daily caseloads need to continually reduce and eventually drop. And the third one being fewer people need to be in hospitals for COVID-19. Now, those are the three criteria that they've set.
So how with number one,
Yes.
What's the current vaccination level? Because I don't think they're anywhere near 70%.
The current is 42%.
Okay, with double
Yes.
vaccine.
Yes, so they're saying around 7 million of Bangkok's population has been double jabbed. This is according to the CCSA. But currently what they're saying is this is coming from the City Hall, that once these three criteria are met, they will go to the Public Health Ministry, who will then go to the Tourism and Sports Ministry for some reason to set guidelines with the CCSA. So I think our final take from this would be, unless the CCSA updates on when it will finally reopen, I think those are the people that we need to watch out for and wait for their confirmation.
Poor old Bangkok is caught between a rock and a hard place because they've got the TAT screaming in one ear, they've got the Prime Minister and all the other politicians screaming in the other ear, they've got local residents and their thoughts, and of course the double CSA are saying, excuse me, we'll make the decision and tell you when you can reopen.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of competing voices. And as I mentioned yesterday, sort of all based around the Prime Minister's premise nearly 3 months ago saying, Thailand will be reopened by the middle of October.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it sounds like, that they're competing. I think that's a proper word, because as soon as a deadline is not met, you have people going back on their words. The person's like, I never said that. He said that.
Loss of face.
They said that. Oh, no, what's going on? Let's move from 1 to 15 to 26. And now they're saying, hey, let's wait and see if these 3 criteria are met. If they're not, then we have another reason to postpone it again.
I noticed Governor Aswin yesterday, he said he thought the target for the double vaccination, 70%, could be met by October the 22nd.
Yes.
But then also said then you have to wait 7 to 14 days for the immunity in those people who'd been vaccinated near the October 22 date to kick in, which then takes any reopening in Bangkok to, at least the first couple of weeks in November. Mm-hmm. So I think if you want to think Bangkok is going to be open in the middle of October, your head needs to be read very carefully. And I just don't think it can happen.
That's exactly what I think too. And I was about to ask you, when do you think it would be a realistic mid-November?
Well, mid-November. The other thing is that they've got to lift all the other restrictions. Who's going to go to Bangkok if there's no restaurants open, if things are closed by a certain date? They've still got the curfew there.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic. If you are reopening the city, you want to attract tourists who can stay without quarantine, then you need to make the city a vibrant, interesting place for them to come. Albeit you can have some restrictions of social distancing, wearing masks, some of the things we're used to.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to make it much more enticing than it is now. I mean, Jet, for example, our newsreader for Thailand News Today, he's up in Chiang Mai at the moment. He says he's going to stay there for at least 3 or 4 months until Bangkok becomes vaguely livable again.
Exactly. Even residents in Phuket, we don't want to go to Bangkok. How can we expect other people to want to go to Bangkok?
I noticed that the Thaiger staff from Bangkok, some of them have come down to Phuket. They're now in the office here. A lot of the staff from Fazwaz, the real estate business, which shares an office in Bangkok, they've come down to Phuket. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't look like Bangkok is the place to be at the moment. But we'll do our best to keep you updated with all these latest shenanigans as regards reopening, and when the politicians and what is the TAT doing, saying that anywhere is going to be, I bashed the table, that anywhere is going to be open. Exactly. By any date. The TAT are there to promote tourism.
That's what I thought.
Keep out of public health, please. Yeah. Leave that to the public health department. Yeah. TAT, it's got nothing to do with you.
Right. All right. For now, we'll just take a quick break. And after we return from the break, we're going to be talking about Thai Airways and their continued struggle. So we'll be back right after this. Welcome back to Good Morning Thailand. You're watching the show with me, Jay and Tim. And now we're going to look into Thai Airways. Now, news came out again today, Tim, that Thai Airways has decided to sell another 3 aircrafts and 1 flight simulator. And my question is, how does Thai Airways not seem to get any better? Every month or every couple of months, we keep hearing about Thai Airways and how it's going down, down, down. What's going on with Thai Airways?
Well, brace for turbulence. I can say that the situation at Thai Airways has been going on for some 13 years. For 13 years, they've been losing a lot of money every single year. And they've been putting their hands in the pocket of the Thai taxpayer. Since September last year, that will no longer happen. The Thai government sold their, I think about 2% of their remaining majority shares, which now means that the Thai Airways can't run back to the Thai government and put their hands in the taxpayer's pocket to bail them out. So Thai Airways is now in a very precarious position. Now, they've just said that they're going to sell another 3 aircraft, 3 of their A330 aircraft, that's from the Airbus family. Now, just last year, they put up 34 of their aircraft for sale, including Boeing 747s, 777s, and the Airbus 340s. I'll get to the Airbus 340s at the moment. You're going to have a little bit of an aviation lesson during this. But they're also looking, and they've asked if they can sell another 10 of their Boeing 747s. These are the aircraft, I suppose, the large aircraft that they call them the Queen of the Skies. Mm-hmm. But they're now a bit outdated, and they need to sell them off. I don't know who are going to buy these sort of almost antique, beautiful, amazing aeroplanes, but at the end of their service, it's not as if there's many buyers for these.
Yeah, the ones that they just sold, I believe, were 12 to 13 years old, the aircrafts.
Yeah, the A330s they're selling are only 12 years old, which is not that bad.
Yeah.
They've probably got another 10 years of usable service ahead of them. And we'd assume that these aircraft have been well maintained. But the problem for Thai Airways is at the moment they've got a few international flights, mostly servicing the sandbox and coming out of Europe mainly. So until we get more of Thailand open, Thai Airways will not have a lot to do. Now, when I stopped travelling from Phuket to Bangkok every week about 4 months ago, end of March, about 4 months, I remember my last flight out of Suvarnabhumi Airport, driving past, the plane was taxiing past about 20 Thai Airways planes that were just parked there and had obviously been parked there for a year or more. And there was mould growing on them, the black mould. They had the plastic covering the cowlings of the jet engines, and that was sort of starting to peel off.
Yeah.
And they were looking very sad and very tired. And I was thinking to myself, to get those planes back into a serviceable situation where they're safe to fly, and also they get rid of all this, the stale air inside, and if there's black mould growing on the outside, I imagine it's probably growing on the inside as well. Yeah. So Thai Airways has got more problems than the early settlers at the moment, and they're struggling to stay afloat. Just putting aircraft up for sale is really, they're just selling the farm. So any assets they've got, well, we're going to end up with a much reduced, smaller, hopefully leaner and meaner Thai Airways. Will it ever fly again as an important, significant national airline? I doubt it. Yeah. I mean, they're at a point now where I just can't see them sort of get back. They're not in a situation where they can discount seats because they just need to try and make every post a winner. But COVID's not helping, of course. The reopening of Thailand is being delayed. So if you want to know where the rot started, assuming that there has been corruption in Thai Airways ever since it started, as there has been in a lot of the large national government services, back in 2003, 2004, somebody decided to buy these Airbus A340s.
Oh, okay.
Now these are they're the same as the A330, the ones they're selling now, but they had 4 engines. Okay. So they were for long distance flights.
Okay.
I realise I'm using my hands a lot today. And they were initially for a sort of a direct Bangkok to New York and Bangkok to Los Angeles service, which was amazing. You know, you didn't have to go via Tokyo or via Korea if you wanted to get to the United States. So it opened up Thailand to these direct flights. Great idea. But from the day they introduced them, and then they started introducing those aircraft onto other services, they've just been hemorrhaging money. And those planes, not one flight has ever turned a profit. Even when the flight flew full, the plane never made a profit. So that was a big... And last week I noticed that somebody in Thai Airways was trying to blame the former Prime Minister, Thaksin Shinawatra. Now, it's his fault. It's his fault he was the Prime Minister at the time, and assumedly he signed off. But, you know, it's all very well to blame a former Prime Minister that's not really in a position to stand up for himself. I mean, he'll probably make some comment about it. I haven't read if he has. But there were people who were high up in management of Thai Airways at the time who were making some decisions, and apparently there has been brown paper bags of money exchanged at the time, costing Thai Airways a lot of money and really propelling it into this situation it's in now.
Yep.
That's all I have to say.
Well, Thai Airways, no longer smooth as silk, more hard as...
nails. Look, it's a tough road back for Thai Airways, and I think there are now these airlines, these young discount airlines, the VietJet, Thai Smile, which is owned by Thai Airways, but it's a sort of a local, leaner, meaner, domestic. Jason was checking earlier, and Thai Smile have 6 flights from Bangkok to Phuket
Yep.
today. So they are flying. So it looks like they are at least generating some income for Thai Airways.
Personally, I feel like it's a much better airline as well. The planes are better, service is better. So, but I guess it depends on your preference.
Well, yeah, but I think the days of the sort of national legacy airlines are sort of in our rearview mirror, and these newer, younger, business-oriented, startup type airlines are the ones that operate with much smaller margins and are delivering basically a better. When I say better service, I'm not saying that the food's better or anything. I mean, obviously, most of them are discount airlines, but they're much more sustainable for a long-term situation, and they can sort of get through these type of situations because they're not bleeding money paying huge lease costs and things that you had to have with a big national airline. Now, that's my perspective, but hard road to hoe. Hard road to hoe for Thai Airways.
Okay, well, that's some news on Thai Airways. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back talking about streaming platform and the Emmys.
Yes.
Right, we'll be back right after this. And welcome back to Good Morning Thailand. Now, we're going to end the show today talking about streaming platforms, and that is because the Emmys were last night. Tim, did you catch the Emmys?
No, I didn't. I didn't even know they were on. But in the old days, the Emmys were all about the 3 big American networks. It was ABC, NBC, and
someone who's not significant anymore.
We can't remember. I'm not an American, so I can't really remember all the networks there. There's Americans screaming at the TV screen.
Furious.
Then you
How
got
dare you?
CNN, and you've got the cable networks and Fox and Neville's. But these streaming networks, these Netflix and HBO, and
Apple Plus, Disney Plus.
Disney are now doing all this streaming. They've changed everything.
They have.
And I was shocked
Yes.
at who was winning the Emmys yesterday.
Well, last night there was a new record. So Netflix has now won more Emmys than any other network platform for the first time ever, with a total of 44 awards awarded last night.
Out of how many?
Very good question. I am not sure.
A question without notice. But it was a lot.
Yes, a lot. So this was a new record. No one has ever won 44 awards.
I think what I saw on the graph you showed me was they won 44 awards.
Yes.
But the highest old sort of terrestrial network, NBC, won 7.
Yeah.
So that is amazing. And that shows that there has just been this quantum shift of viewing to these streaming platforms. I mean, that is obviously the future.
And high quality, you know, we're not going to Netflix, I mean, it's a huge platform, but it spends millions and billions of producing content. And
millions and billions.
Millions and billions of dollars into making its own shows. They were the first platform to basically be like, we don't want to, pay someone else. We'll just do it ourselves. And 44 awards, they're reaping the rewards of the money that they've invested all these years ago. The closest rival, which is, I believe, HBO Max, won 19. So that's a little less than half.
Name me a popular program on HBO. I don't know much about
it.
Well, John Oliver.
John Oliver, yes, last week tonight. Game of Thrones used to be HBO. You know, Game of Thrones used to win every award.
That was a big one.
For about 10 years, they won every award that, for best series. But yeah, HBO Max still does, they're known for, they're not afraid, and they do those hardcore series, I feel.
I'd be interested to know, how do you watch TV these days? Do you subscribe to these streamers? Netflix, HBO, Apple Plus, Disney? I mean, who doesn't need a Disney musical at least once a week? Yeah,
we've moved away from the traditional TV per se. Like, you'd go to a network or cable provider and you'd get 5 or 6 channels. But nowadays it's just about, okay, I'm going to pay $5 for Netflix, $5 for Disney Plus, $5 for Amazon, and I've got everything that I would ever need to watch for the rest of my life.
Apart from the programming, I think the biggest change is that you can watch what you want
when you want it.
When you want.
Exactly.
It used to be that you were served things on cable or on network TV, and they were on at this time, and you watched it, unless you had a VHS recorder. Does anybody have a VHS? No, you wouldn't bother. So the game's changed.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the NBCs and ABCs and Channel 3s and Channel 10s, and they're sort of the newspapers of the TV world. The way we are watching and interfacing with TV has changed, and that list of awards just astonished me.
Yeah.
All the winners were streaming services.
Right, I guess that is the future, and it is bright. Well, I guess that's all we have for today's episode. Any last comments, Tim?
No, that's about it. Thank you very much, by the way, for all the good wishes. People saying, welcome back, Tim. I appreciate that. And all the ones who said, I didn't like you coming back, I've deleted your comments, so didn't have to worry about that.
Right.
I didn't, by the way, I haven't touched them.
Yeah, right. So I'd like to thank Tim for joining me on the show today, Jason behind the buttons, and thank you to the viewers. If you enjoyed the video, please click like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you for Good Morning Thailand tomorrow. Have a great Tuesday. Bye-bye.